Why, hello there. Jacob here. And how about that game Sunday, eh? So, yeah. Let's go ahead and kind of get into it, I suppose. I mean, yeah. So, yesterday I decided to kind of take the day off because we got back from the game and stuff like that. And not going to lie, we're both exhausted and this and that and the other thing. And, whew. I mean, that game was crazy. That game had almost everything, really. Back and forth and back and forth. I mean, heck, the game started on a, probably the first real big play was a Minnesota Vikings stop on a fake punt because Dan Campbell, basically. I mean, he's not afraid to say, screw it, we're doing this. Even if it makes literally no sense. So then the Vikings hop out to a 10-0 lead. And then the Lions woke up in the second quarter, roared back to make it, I believe at one point it was like 27-10 or like 27-13 at half. So it was not really looking that good. Not going to lie. But then we come out in the second half and we punch our way back in. Jefferson had a touchdown. And yeah, like I say, it just it was a punch, counter punch, punch, counter punch type of game. But at the end, Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions reigned supreme. And the Vikings lose by a score of 31-29. I mean, I knew this was bound to happen eventually. And like I say, too, U.S. Bank Stadium, I mean, it was nuts in there. It was loud. It was amazing, honestly. I mean, my throat's still probably kind of recovering a little bit. So if you hear me kind of cough and stuff like that, yeah, the weather around here has been kind of crazy this year. But still, with all that being said, though, it was a great game. In fact, they even opened up U.S. Bank Stadium, which was kind of cool, seeing the doors and the gates actually open, because it was like 80 degrees and like sunny out there. I mean, it was, you would have thought it was more like June or July than, October 20th. So, it's kind of the way it is there, I suppose. But, yeah, like I say, tough loss. Some good moments in there, some not so good moments in there. Sam Darnold kind of, I'm not going to say he's turning into a pumpkin or anything like that, but I don't know. It's definitely, there's just definitely something there, not quite there. I don't know. I don't know if it's maybe just the defenses we're facing, because, I mean, the Lions defense is really good. Texans defense normally is pretty good, but I know that he shredded them. Same with the 49ers and, teams like that. But I know that the Jets have a really good and physical defense, and so do the Lions. So, but hey, I mean, outside of like one brain-dead throw that made me even go, huh? Because he threw it into double coverage that got picked off in the second quarter when he had a wide open route on the left side, who I believe was either Aaron Jones or Addison. I know there was a 3 in there, but I couldn't quite see if it was 33 or if it was just 3. But, yeah, again, like I say, it's easy for us to say we don't have those 300-plus pound linemen chasing us around. So, but at the end of the day, 5-1. But you can't, get soft. You can't get down on yourself, because not only do we have a game on Sunday, we also have a Thursday night game. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is the back-to-back week. This is, well, I mean, no time to rest on your laurels, no time to feel sorry for yourself. You got to travel to L.A. to take on the Rams on Thursday. So in my opinion, this might have actually been a good thing for the Vikings, because it's like, see it, taste it, feel it, you're close, but now it's time to move on and focus on the Rams, which, on paper, obviously they've been injured to heck and back. Stafford, I mean, he does have some weapons and stuff like that, but for the most part, his big guns have been hurt. And, yeah, ever since Aaron Donald retired, their defense hasn't quite been the same, but you still got to take them, you can't take them lightly is what I'm trying to say. So, yeah, coming off of that loss, obviously things that I like to see are the run game looks good. I mean, when Aaron Jones is in there, it's a night and day difference. But then again, Aaron Jones is one of those backs who can make a massive difference on any offense. But, yeah, I'd be curious to see, what the depth behind them is and stuff like that. Because for me, that's probably key number one is getting that run game going. And then once we get the run game going, pushing forward on that should make for a great, great night and stuff like that. Plus, Jefferson looked good. Addison had one play that made me scratch my head, like when he lined up like a yard offside, but then ended up, charging down the field for a couple big plays that helped, bring us back into the game. So, all in all, successful and stuff like that. Obviously, Hawkinson and Reisner were still out. So, it'll be another thing to see if they return against the Rams or if they return against the Colts. So, yeah, I guess we'll just kind of wait and see, on the injury fronts and stuff like that. And I know I'll have my ears and eyes to the grindstone there. But, yeah, so obviously the key there for Darnold on offense against the Rams is, take what they give you. Don't try to be crazy here. But also know that their defense can be God. I mean, it's not quite the same defense as the last few years here, but they're still pretty darn solid. And then also for our defense, getting pressure on Matt Stafford. I mean, Jared Goff on Sunday, it didn't matter if there was pressure, no pressure. I mean, Jared Goff is looking like an MVP quarterback. There. I said it. Jared Goff is looking like an MVP quarterback because his performances this year, I think he has more completions or something like it. There's some crazy record. He has a record amount of completions in a row per game or something like that. I mean, heck, just a couple weeks ago he went 18 for 18 in a game. So I mean, the pressure doesn't seem to rattle him at all anymore. And again, makes sense. I mean, he was a number one overall pick for a reason back in 2016 to a Rams team that was in transition, if you may say. But yeah, I mean, so if we can get pressure on Stafford and stuff like that, make his day a living, breathing nightmare, then I really like our chances here. So, B-Flow, I'll be curious to see what his, thoughts and schemes are going to be for this week. And also, Cooper Kupp may or may not return. I don't know if Puka's back yet or not, but yeah, I mean, like I say, they could get one or two of their pieces back, but I don't know how Cooper Kupp's going to look. I don't know if he's going to be 100% or not. So that'll be something to keep an eye on if you're the DBs and stuff like that, because, not going to lie, our DBs kind of got thrown into a blender on Sunday. But again, I mean, Ben Johnson is probably going to be a head coach by this time next year, so who knows. So, yeah, like I say, I think that'll pretty much kind of sum this up here. Not really a whole lot to talk about here. I mean, it is kind of a hectic week here because, well, as I said, back-to-back games, Sunday and then a Thursday night. And, yeah, I mean, like I say, we'll just kind of see how much they tweak of the game plan, change the game plan, or whatnot. I mean, when you only have 3 days from the time, the last game ends to the time kickoff begins on your next game, you only have so much time and practice and stuff like that you can do. So, now, do I like our chances on Thursday? Oh, yeah. And does the schedule get a little bit easier? On paper, yes. But as we all know, paper doesn't mean a darn thing if you don't execute. So yeah, I'm not ready to sound the alarms yet after one loss to a team that we almost beat. We should have beat probably if there wasn't, but a couple of plays here and there. But basically what that shows me is if this team can get back going and humming, who knows? Sky's the limit, fellas. And now you have a chance to get right before the Rams, get right against the Rams. And then heads up, As of yesterday, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, the Colts-Vikings game has been flexed to Sunday Night Football on NBC. That's right. So not only do we get that 10-day rest period, but we're also the Sunday night game that week. Because originally it was going to be Jags and Eagles, but yeah, honestly, I think I'd much rather prefer Vikings and Colts. I'm not even just saying that as a Vikings fan because, Anthony Richardson and those guys are... Well, you just don't know what Anthony Richardson's going to do. You don't know if he's going to launch howitzers 90 yards down the field. He's kind of like Nick Mullins in a way. Like one of those raw quarterbacks where he basically says, screw it, someone's down there somewhere. I just don't know if it's going to be a Viking. I don't know if it's going to be a Colt. I don't know if it's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be the beer vendor in Section 103. Like, it's just, someone's down there somewhere. So that's going to be interesting, but I'll kind of, do that preview and stuff like that next week once we get closer to week 9. But yeah. That'll pretty much wrap things up for this portion of... Yeah, I'll pretty much wrap it up for this video, but stay tuned because, well, let's just say I finally have one of my pre-orders coming in from about 6 weeks ago, either today or tomorrow, so stay tuned for that, and, yeah. Thinking also about shooting a Minnesota Wild video, because since the last time I was able to shoot a Wild video, well, let's just say something interesting happened. And the Wild take on the defending Cup champs tonight in the Florida Panthers. So, yeah, we'll just kind of wait and see how the game goes. And until we meet again, this is Jacob. Have a good day.